Have you ever seen something and you wondered who in the world was behind that? Have you seen a sculpture and you're like, oh my goodness, it's magnificent. But there was somebody behind it. Every sculpture you see, there's a sculptor. You ever seen a painting, you're like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. But behind that painting, there was a painter. You ever saw a movie, you're like, oh my goodness, that movie was incredible. But there was a director, there was somebody behind the camera. Have you ever seen something happen and you wonder to yourself, who in the world was behind that? How do you feel about evil? When someone walks in the classroom and starts shooting, when you're walking home and somebody robs you at gunpoint, or unforeseen things happen because people are full of wicked and evil. Have you ever wondered who's behind that? Has it ever made you question whether there was a God or if he was even good? When evil happens, it's like the law of causality, or the principle of causes. You wonder to yourself, how in the world is this happening? And who's behind it? But it's only when it comes to evil when you question God. When you see that painting, you're like, oh, that was an amazing painter. When you see a sculpture, you're like, that was an incredible sculptor. But when evil happens, you assign it to God or you dismiss him altogether. But ask yourself the question, who's really behind the evil that you see? Who's really behind the evil that you experience? Because the very fact that you even understand that there's good and evil makes me wonder, well, you have a moral complex. But let me guess, nope, he's evil. Why did he allow evil? Ask yourself this question. When someone does something reckless, did God do it or did the person do it? Because the Bible is not intimidated by the question. God's not intimidated by the question. In fact, God placed Adam in the garden, Eve in the garden, and he gave them the ability to do something that's more powerful than you could ever imagine. He gave them the ability to make a choice. He gave them the ability to choose. He said, all this is yours, but just don't touch this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And what did they do? They went opposite. They did what they wanted to do. Have you ever did what you wanted to do, knowing it wasn't the right thing to do? They did what they wanted to do, and there were consequences. Somebody suffered. Somebody suffers when someone makes bad decisions, but it's called free will. God created human beings. He didn't create robots. You wouldn't appreciate a woman who says, I do, if you force them to say I do when you propose to the lady. No, that's not real love. You have this feeling inside of you when you know she says yes by choice. Your whole world changes because she made that choice on her own. And God will never force you to love him. He won't force you to follow him. He even gives you the choice to choose to love him and receive him or even reject him because you have the power to choose. Adam and Eve made a decision. Cain and Abel. Cain made a decision. God said to him, if you offer up this sacrifice again, do what is right. But you have the opportunity to choose. And he chose to do evil. God even said, sin is crossed at your door. Do what is right and you'll be received. And what does he do? Takes his brother into the field and he kills him. He murders him. He kills his own brother. That's evil. It's reckless. But who was behind the murder? Was God behind the murder? No. Cain was behind the murder because he had the ability to choose and he chose not to do the right thing. He chose evil. My friends, the reason why we experience wickedness is not because God isn't good. It's because every day we wake up, we make choices, we make decisions, and sometimes we just don't make the right decision. Cain, his whole body was filled with anger, and he let his anger get the best of him. He let his emotions get the best of him. Let me tell you something, the worst time you could ever make a decision is when you're emotional. Sometimes we make the worst decisions in our life when we're emotional. I want to get in your mind today the power of a decision, the power of a choice. The next time you make a decision, please realize the power in that decision. I want to see you do well. I want to see you have a legacy. I want to see you have a future. But one decision can destroy it all. Y'all be blessed. This is Pastor JP. I hope you enjoyed the Kickback. I'll see you next time. Share it with somebody, make comments, and I'll see you next time on the Kickback.